Tonight, explosive allegations of sexual abuse and assault inside a Sydney hospital. 7 News exposes the shocking claims. A security guard killed outside a Sutherland pub, the local community heartbroken. Police under pressure in the search for a Sydney couple and the investigation into the cop accused of killing them. Secrets from the deep uncovered off the state's south coast. Sydney in a spin as the Taylor Swift juggernaut goes up a gear. And were the Panthers robbed by the refs at the World Club Challenge in England?
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. Whistleblowers have made explosive claims of patient sexual assaults and psychological terror against staff inside the state's biggest mental health hospital. Witnesses telling a 7 News investigation the only solution for Cumberland Hospital is to shut it down.
It's the Sydney hospital full of torment.
If I had a relative or a friend in that hospital, I would try to get them out as soon as possible.
Warwick used to work there at Cumberland, the state's largest mental health facility.
It's like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. It is that bad.
After almost 30 years, he was dismissed, he claims, after voicing serious concerns. So was Sharon McInerney, a former nurse manager.
How are you feeling?
Extremely nervous, anxious. They destroyed my health, my reputation and my career. And it's only been through the support that I've had that I'm still here today.
Tortured by what other staff say is still happening inside.
There are sexual assaults, there's physical assaults.
There's staff injuries and staff can't complain. If you raise a complaint, you're targeted. It was psychological terror.
Speaking up for colleagues whose concerns aren't being heard. It comes after 7 News showed you this, a Cumberland patient claiming she was assaulted.
I just got knuckle punched.
Well, I'm very concerned and I have been for a long time.
In July last year, 7 News asked New South Wales Health about specific and shocking allegations from current staff members at Cumberland Hospital. But 7 months on, we're still waiting for answers. We did get a response to today's claims. The department says it has conducted a review. Work is ongoing as we strive to make improvements to workplace culture.
Best thing that they could do is knock down and rebuild.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
A security guard has been killed allegedly by a drunk patron at a hotel at Sutherland. Tonight, the victim's grieving family is in touch with police from their home in the Middle East.
Flowers left for bouncer Musa Al-Hazar, who died protecting others out enjoying their Saturday night.
Oh, a bit sad. That's why I come up here and lay some flowers for him.
Staff have also spent the day cleaning outside. At 2 this morning, police allege a 31-year-old man had been asked to leave the Royal Hotel for being drunk.
Some lady screaming at the top of her lungs, and then all of a sudden I've popped out and there's police cars everywhere, and it's just on for young and old pretty much, yeah.
When they arrived, they found a 30-year-old male security guard unresponsive and immediately commenced CPR.
But it was already too late.
It's terrible. The security guard's just going about his business and there's patrons in there having a good time.
The accused was arrested at the scene, the whole fatal exchange captured on security video. He's since been charged with assault occasioning death. Police breaking the devastating news to Musa's family, who live in Saudi Arabia.
He wouldn't have been looking for a stink or anything, he would have just been trying to defuse it, and the guy was just, these things get out of whack, mate.
The pub itself has released a brief statement. The Royal Hotel Sutherland is deeply saddened by the tragic events that transpired in the early hours of this morning, extending its heartfelt condolences.
The security guard, mate, it's just an average bloke, just a nice bloke.
The 31-year-old accused remains in police custody tonight, due to face Sutherland local court tomorrow. Grace Fitzgibbon, 7 News.
There was a dramatic rescue off Collaroy this morning. A diver in her 30s had to be winched from the water after getting into trouble. The delicate operation taking more than an hour.
When she surfaced, she was semi-conscious, but she was breathing on her own. and she was a bit agitated.
She was flown to Prince of Wales Hospital in a serious but stable condition. We have breaking news now, and police divers are tonight searching the Southern Highlands for the missing bodies of Jessie Baird and Luke Davies. Questions are continuing to mount over how the policeman accused of their murders was able to use his service pistol in the alleged shooting. Police access to firearms will now be re-examined as pressure also grows on the police commissioner to speak publicly.
Evidence continues to be retrieved from the Paddington terrace in which Jessie Baird and Luke Davies are thought to have been murdered. There is a lot to process for police and for locals.
This happening right around Mardi Gras when it's a celebration of gay life, it just hits that much harder.
In tandem with a homicide investigation are internal questions over how a cop entrusted to use deadly force to protect civilians should allegedly use it to murder them.
If it's proved that he has used his firearm and then returned it to a police station, that is a massive abuse of the actual powers.
A forensic examination of Beau Lamar's Glock pistol and a projectile inside the home allegedly link him to the murders.
They have very strict rules around the way in which police have to look after their firearms.
Rules might become stricter. Lamar is alleged to have sent text messages purportedly from his dead victims' phones to cover his tracks.
To say this has rocked the New South Wales police force is an understatement. Everybody is talking about it. Multiple sources have told 7 News one person above all should be talking about it. Astonished that she isn't.
After mounting pressure, Commissioner Karen Webb produced a written statement. While I cannot comment on the matter before the courts, I can reassure Luke and Jessie's loved ones and the people of New South Wales that we are working around the clock to find those answers. Multiple police sources also tell 7 News they are frustrated by the investigation's secrecy. After Tuesday's triple homicide at Baulkham Hills and North Parramatta, police informed the public within hours. At Paddington, nothing for 24 hours, and only then when media started getting wind of it. And even then, police asked journalists to hold off reporting the suspect was a cop for operational reasons. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
A 16-year-old boy has allegedly led police on a high-speed chase through the city overnight. Highway patrol officers say they attempted to pull over the boy and a 14-year-old girl when they were spotted in a stolen SUV in Drummoyne. But instead of stopping, police allege the young driver took off before smashing into a parked car in Paddington. He's since been charged with a range of driving offences and had his licence suspended. Inner West Council is launching legal action against the contractors cleaning up the asbestos-contaminated mulch at Rozelle. The clean-up is scheduled to be finished by this week, but local Mayor Darcy Burns says the remediation works are behind schedule. He is now suing to force companies John Holland and CPB to adhere to the deadline. The parklands have been closed since the toxic mulch was discovered in mid-January, forcing the postponement of a number of events. The number of Australians with a university or TAFE qualification must increase dramatically if the country is to reach its full potential. That's one of the key findings from a major review into the tertiary education sector, which also recommends introducing a pay-to-learn scheme for teaching and nursing students.
400 pages, 47 recommendations, a blueprint for transforming Australia's higher education sector.
This is a big report with big ideas,
suggesting big changes to secure Australia's economic prosperity. Recommending at least 80% of Australians will need a tertiary qualification by 2050, up from 60%. Key will be getting more students from disadvantaged backgrounds, First Nations and country areas to enrol.
A plan that really is about changing lives and changing nations.
To achieve that, the report says the number of university places for local students must double from 860,000 to 1.8 million. The cost of some degrees, including communications and humanities, should be lowered.
Everybody should have the chance to go to university.
While those who do go need more help to finish their degrees, encouraging a government-funded paid prac scheme for teaching and nursing courses, so students required to complete hundreds of hours of work placements don't drop out due to so-called placement poverty.
And if we're going to increase participation, these sorts of innovative models are really important.
The review also recommends an overhaul of student loans, introducing simpler and fairer repayment arrangements, including ensuring debts don't grow faster than wages. The banks can help too, treating student loans differently to personal loans so they don't limit the ability to get a mortgage.
Now, you can't do everything at once. We don't have to do everything at once.
Suggesting a staggered approach over the next 2 decades, costing billions and outlasting several governments. Rob Scott, 7 News.
Australia has backed American and British strikes on more than a dozen new Houthi targets in Yemen. Underground weapons and missile storage sites, as well as radars and a helicopter, were among the targets as explosions peppered the night sky. The US is also warning of an environmental disaster after Houthi rebels struck a British cargo ship in the Red Sea, triggering an oil slick. Donald Trump is almost guaranteed to be the Republican nominee in November's presidential race. He easily beat Nikki Haley in the South Carolina primary, and now the focus is shifting to another showdown with Joe Biden.
South Carolina, polling places shut at 7 p.m. By 2 minutes past,
CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the South Carolina Republican primary.
News organisations had called it.
This was a little sooner than we anticipated.
And symbolically powerful. He beat his only remaining Republican rival in the state where she had served as governor.
I want to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory.
4 states have now voted. Trump has won them all.
Oh God, I'm just high. I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and I'm so high right now because Trump is our man.
The 77-year-old's grip on America's conservative side of politics growing. Never mind his myriad of court battles and never-ending controversies. Just yesterday he suggested his infamous mugshot was a vote winner with...
You know who embraced it more than anybody else? The black population. It's incredible.
It's disgusting, but that's what happens when he goes off the teleprompter.
Nikki Haley's loss clear-cut, but not quite the 30-point thrashing some polls had predicted, and not enough for her to quit yet.
I'm not giving up this fight when a majority of Americans disapprove of both Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Thank you very much.
Super Tuesday, the pinnacle of the primaries, is now just a fortnight away. But with Biden on one side the incumbent, Trump on the other dominant, the primaries have been made all but irrelevant. America, step by step, locking in a Biden-Trump rematch for November. In South Carolina, Tim Lester, 7 News.
There is no easing off in Sydney's love affair with Taylor Swift. This evening, fans are streaming into Accor Stadium once again ahead of tonight's opening number. Zoe Martin is there as well. Zoe, it must feel like the Olympics out there at the moment.
Mark, the energy here is unreal. It's been a long time coming for Swifties as thousands pack into Accor Stadium in their sparkles and sequins. How are we feeling, guys? Ready to shake it off? Of course, this is the third of 4 shows on Taylor's Sydney leg of the tour. And while we might be halfway through, the excitement and anticipation is only building. Here's a taste of what this crowd can expect tonight.
Night 2.
Are you ready for it?
80,000 fans. And the brightest star on earth. Casting her Swiftie spell over Sydney. And after a fortnight in Australia, it feels like she's a local now, teasing this classic out of dancer Cameron Saunders.
Tell him he's dreaming.
The Queen of Pop with a nod to the castle.
Tell him he's dreaming. Tell him he's dreaming.
Dreaming.
Tell him he's dreaming.
For the second sellout night, it felt like a dream for everyone in the Olympic Stadium.
She's the queen.
Nice. Please give a thumbs up to Taylor Swift. Yay.
That's a certainty from fans who struggle to hear. For these Auslan interpreters becoming stars themselves. All signing, all dancing.
It was just camaraderie throughout the whole crowd. Everyone was enjoying it.
And I just absolutely loved being there. Watching interpreters just make me feel
I can really enjoy the experience.
That's music to anyone's ears. And after bopping along on opening night in Sydney, our music-loving Prime Minister is a solid Swiftie now.
One of the reasons why Taylor Swift's tour has been such a success is it's so positive, it's so uplifting, and she's a very welcome visitor here.
And so's her dad, Scott Swift, after shaking it off with Rebel Wilson last night. He had a cause of his own, handing out sandwiches to hungry fans and stadium staff. While Taylor continues to have Sydney eating out of her hand. Zoe Martin, 7 News.
Time to check the weather now with Angie Asimus. Angie, what a finish to the weekend.
Mark, today was fairly spectacular. After a run of either intense heat or grey skies, this was hard to beat. Clear with light winds, and despite the sunshine, it wasn't too hot. Temperatures were just a touch above average. We reached 28 degrees in the CBD, 30 in our west. North of Sydney is where we've seen some decent rainfall totals in the 24 hours until 9 a.m. 70 millimetres around Port Macquarie, similar totals in the northeast quarter. Now, we are in the last official days of summer, and the season will end with one final heatwave. Inland heat currently over WA will track closer. Thursday is the day to watch for us. Coming up, I'll tell you just how hot it's expected to be, Mark.
Sting in the tail.
Yes.
Thanks, Angie. Heavily armed police swarm a Western Sydney street in a dramatic standoff. Coming up, officers deal with a hostage situation and there could be more arrests. More on our breaking news on the search for the bodies of Jessie Baird and Luke Davies. A first-hand look at the maritime mystery solved after more than a century. Later, the worrying bulk billing trend that has patients paying the price. And Australia's screen queen wins her Hollywood crown. Welcome back. Returning to our breaking news now, and the search for missing couple Jessie Baird and Luke Davies has dramatically expanded. Let's go live to Leonie Ryan in the newsroom. Leonie, where are police looking now?
Mark, just in the last few minutes, police have confirmed they're searching an area in the southern tablelands around Goulburn. Detectives for days have been using the GPS on the phone used by Constable Beau Lemaire in the hopes of finding the bodies of Luke Davies and Jessie Baird, who he's been charged with murdering inside a Paddington property. What we do know so far is that the police officer travelled to Cronulla, Newcastle and Grays Point using a white van where he's alleged to have moved the bodies. So that breaking news again, Mark. Police are now focusing on an area around Goulburn in their search for Luke Davies and Jessie Baird.
Leonie Ryan with breaking news. Thank you. There were long delays at Hammondville this afternoon after a motorbike burst into flames following a crash. The rider was thrown from his bike and taken to Liverpool Hospital with arm and leg injuries. The crash forced firefighters to shut down Heathcote Road for more than half an hour. 3 people have been charged over an alleged kidnapping that sparked a dramatic standoff with police overnight. A busy Parramatta street was shut down for hours, and tonight detectives are hunting for more accomplices.
Tactical officers took no chances, armed with high-powered weapons, as a hostage situation unfolded on Webb Street in North Parramatta.
It was a bit frightening seeing all the police and everything there in their full kit.
The standoff tense. Negotiators using a loudspeaker to coax those inside out.
Very loud, yeah. I mean, I had the TV on, but I could hear it over the top of that.
7 News understands a man was abducted and attacked with injuries to his leg and face.
I repeatedly asked this person to come out and drop any weapons.
They did eventually. It took over an hour, but finally 2 men and a woman were arrested. They have been charged with kidnapping and will appear in court on Wednesday.
It's scary actually. It's because it's a good area.
An exclusion zone was set up right up and down this street and in place for hours. Residents here say they've never seen a police operation of this scale before.
We haven't had anything like this before in my memory, and I've lived here a long time.
Police aren't ruling out that other people could be involved, with more arrests likely over the coming days. Angelique Opie, 7 News.
The Prime Minister has ruled out an early election as he tries to sell his Stage 3 tax cut changes. ahead of the crucial Dunkley by-election next weekend. It's a Labor-held seat, but Anthony Albanese claims hanging on to it won't be easy.
In Melbourne's southeast, a sea of red, led by the Prime Minister, as Labor tries to hold on to the seat of Dunkley at next weekend's by-election.
By-elections are tough for governments. We know that the average swing against a government in a government-held seat is around 7%, and that's greater than the margin here.
That margin is 6.3%, but despite the political differences, the candidates agree on one thing.
Cost of living pressures is the number one thing.
Cost of living is the number one issue.
Labor is trying to sell its Stage 3 tax cuts to the mortgage belt suburbs. Across the electorate, the majority of voters are experiencing negative cash flow, with 90% struggling to make ends meet in Frankston North and 83% in Seaford and 81% in Carrum Downs.
As a result of our cost of living tax cuts, every single taxpayer in Dunkley will get a tax cut.
People are struggling more than ever now, particularly in the last 2 years under this current government.
Yes, tax cuts, 70,000 people getting a little bit better benefits out of it. Fantastic. But there needs to be a lot more to it than that.
The Stage 3 tax cuts are expected to pass the Senate this week, making Saturday's by-election the first real test for the Albanese government to see if voters support the changes. The PM shutting down speculation of an early election following leaked messages from his office.
I believe governments should serve full terms. I think 3 years is too short.
Tyra Stowers, 7 News.
After more than a week, the body of Alexi Nali finally returns. Still to come, a mother's fight against Moscow for her own son's body. 2 years on, the brutal war that was only supposed to last a matter of days. The billionaire's party with a high-profile guest list and A-list entertainment.
And soon in sport, final hit-outs before the NRL season reveal some electric eels and tepid tigers.
Welcome back. A cutting-edge medical facility is being expanded at Westmead. The state government says a new company will explore experimental ways to treat cancer, genetic disease and infections.
To put our state at the forefront of technology that will change the way in which we treat patients with some of the most challenging diseases.
Viral vector technology uses viruses that are harmless to humans to carry genetic therapies that target disease. More than a week after his death, the body of Alexei Navalny has now been handed over to his mother. The Russian opposition leader and Kremlin critic died in an Arctic prison 9 days ago while serving a sentence on charges denounced as political retribution. Navalny's mother had been fighting for custody of his body, with plans for his funeral still unclear. Kyiv claims to have struck a Russian steel plant on the second anniversary of the invasion. Video shared to social media shows a large fire erupting after the first blast. The site, 400 kilometres north of Ukraine's border, is said to be responsible for nearly a fifth of Russia's steel output. It's now 730 days since the start of the war, and Volodymyr Zelensky is still insisting his country will come out victorious.
As Ukraine marches into a third year of conflict, war-torn and weary, its neighbours came with a message.
We're here to tell you that Europe will continue to stand at your side for as long as it takes. There will be a free and sovereign Ukraine.
Still wearing the battle scars, this airport north of Kyiv stands as a reminder of Russia's unrelenting assault. Back where the war started 2 years ago to the day, the Prime Ministers of Italy, Belgium and Canada united in defiance of Vladimir Putin.
We will continue to stand with Ukraine and continue to ensure that Russia does not win this war.
Putin thought he could topple Ukraine in 3 days. He failed at that, but did set in motion the deadliest war on European soil in more than 70 years. Russian murderers, Zelensky says, will answer for what they've done. But to make Russia pay, they need Western support. And for now, America's critical multi-billion-dollar aid package is stalled in Congress.
Where does this end? Very simple. Putin cannot be allowed to walk in, invade a democratic neighbour, and be rewarded for doing so.
The outcome of this conflict is still unknown. The forecasts are sobering. And to win, this wartime leader will need to once again muster confidence in Washington and the will to fight at home. In London, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
For the first time in 120 years, we've been given a glimpse of a shipwreck feared lost forever. The SS Nemesis has been found by accident sitting in dangerous waters off the south coast. Historians have called it a holy grail.
26 kilometres off the coast, 160 metres down, lies a 1,400-tonne discovery.
A 120-year-old maritime mystery has been solved.
This is the SS Nemesis.
It looks very different now, covered in barnacles and a sanctuary for fish. The Nemesis was used during the gold rush to transport coal.
Today's announcement is one of those really important stories of our maritime history. It's about ships lost at sea. It's about lives lost. There were 32 lives lost when this ship went down in around July 1904.
It was last seen by another ship battling mountainous seas. The pounding waves wrecked the bow so quickly the crew had no time to save themselves. For New South Wales,
it's actually one of the biggest tragedies at sea.
The wreck was only discovered by accident. Ed Corber makes a living finding objects on the ocean floor.
I knew straight away we were onto something quite significant.
And while it took over a century to find Nemesis, its fate was already known. Parts of the ship started washing up on Cronulla Beach.
It took weeks for some of those bodies to go up with the inshore current.
Because the crew members could not be identified, they were laid to rest here at Warrenora Cemetery in Sydney South, where their graves will never be named. The 31 men and 1 woman left 40 children behind.
We want to know you. We want to be able to tell the stories of what happened to your loved ones.
Leonie Ryan, 7 News.
A pop princess given an eye-watering payday to perform at a billionaire's exclusive party next. The protesters who crashed a lavish celebration headlined by Katy Perry. Plus the areas in Sydney where the number of bulk billing GPs is plummeting.
And in sports, the Merry Magic helps the Matildas all but seal their ticket to Paris, but the coach wants more.
7 News exclusives direct to you.
There has been a stunning development.
Hit with a string of child sex charges.
The one source where the true meaning of exclusive is delivered every night.
A major manhunt is underway with fears this could be a double homicide.
But secret City of Sydney documents we've uncovered show that inspectors must be highly productive.
You'll see it first.
7 News can reveal detectives are expected to charge the 49-year-old with 3 counts of murder.
You'll know it first.
Sparkling stream of Swifties spilling out of Olympic Park Station right now.
When you watch 7 News, you'll really know the news.
Welcome back. Alcohol-fuelled parties on Bondi Beach will soon be a thing of the past. Entrepreneurs hosting commercial events on the famous sand have now been banned by Waverley Council. Locals have voiced their objections to parties and festivals taking place at Bondi, and they won out at a council meeting last week. The only events exempt from the new policy are Mardi Gras, Sculpture by the Sea and the City to Surf. Plans for a drastic redesign of Moore Park have been unveiled. The revamped area could feature nighttime golf facilities, as well as meadows and off-limit zones for nocturnal wildlife. The state government will now invite the public to provide feedback on the plans. Tens of thousands of residents are set to move into surrounding suburbs in the coming decades. Protesters have crashed an A-list performance at a glitzy party hosted by one of the country's richest families. The PM was in attendance at Katy Perry's performance for the Pratt family in Melbourne, but so were demonstrators demanding Julian Assange be returned to Australia.
Enjoy yourselves, you
There was also a small army of Katy Perry fans stuck outside the property dancing along to the tunes. If there was any doubt left, Hollywood is back following the pain of the recent strikes. The Screen Actors Guild honoured its best today with Aussie Elizabeth Debicki named Best TV Actress at the SAG Awards.
Only Hollywood can make a car park look good. The pre-red carpet sparkle as these stars parked the union troubles of the past for a night of celebration.
After going through a very difficult time with the strike.
A long award ceremony made easier for some and tricky for others.
I forgot my glasses.
After playing Princess Diana in The Crown, Elizabeth Debicki is happy to be herself again.
Do you know what? I've been slowly working my way back into my Australian accent.
And before long, everyone heard it.
Elizabeth Debicki, The Crown.
Thank you for this. It means so much to me. This job is such a gift. It's my mum's birthday. Happy birthday, Mum. Thank you so much.
And a moment to recognise genuine royalty. A lifetime achievement for the brilliant Barbara Streisand, actor, director, singer, and a bulldozing trailblazer for women in showbiz.
I've loved working with you.
Then Oppenheimer exploded, scooping 3 of the biggest awards.
Robert Downey Jr.
That was for Best Supporting Actor. Cillian Murphy went one better, Best Actor.
Looking out at all of you guys here today, I know that I'm part of something truly wonderful, so thank you so much.
And throw in Best Motion Picture Cast.
Oppenheimer.
For a nuclear-powered trifecta, surely making it a safe bet at the Oscars. In the United States, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
Routine checkups at the GP are becoming a new political battleground. Still to come, patients left to foot the bill in a bulk billing blow. The Sydney suburbs, where the number of clinics offering the service is plummeting. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now Mel is here with Sport. Mel, good signs for the Dragons.
Yeah, that's right, Fergo. New coach Shane Flanagan, he'll be happy with what he saw in Mudgee, but Benji might feel a little differently. Your league news is up next, including the World Champions title again eludes the Panthers on a night fraught with controversy in Wigan. And Chaz Mostert's pit stop mess is Will Brown's gain. The Bathurst 500 just set the scene for an epic supercars rivalry.
Hello Sydney, it's the list that crashed the Sunrise website.
Didn't it what? Beauty dupes, the tried and tested products delivering the same results at a fraction of the price.
Now comes the new list for 2024. Hundreds of dollars less for fragrances, makeup and skincare.
Plus Hillsong, the inside story, the journalist who went inside the global megachurch.
He's live on one of the biggest scandals to unfold right here.
And a week of all-star exclusives. Logan Paul, Timothy Chalamet and the Jonas Brothers.
Only on Sunrise, Monday.
Right now. Welcome back. Wigan and some friendly hometown calls did no favours for NRL clubs hoping to stop the Panthers' reign. This morning's 16-12 World Club Challenge defeat will only stoke the fire for Penrith's 4th straight title.
Great British heist or not, the Panthers took it with grace.
We were happy to come here and I still stand by that. Like I'd much prefer to come here and lose than not come at all.
Some early fire to get warm in Wigan.
And there's a tension through the middle already.
Before former eel Bevan French showed how much he's missed from the NRL. Try for try, first half.
Picked up by Kenny, slips into Cleary.
Despite very few visits into Panthers territory.
Wigan gonna score!
12-10 Penrith, till a dubious ruling for the home side after the break.
Carried by Wigan, can they ground it? Oh, inches away, did they get it over the line?
The ref guessed they had, the video ref didn't know, awarding the try before he'd seen this angle.
It's very, very difficult to see how that ball gets over the line.
Former Dragons flyer Jay Field denied Taylor May.
He's trying to go around field, what a tackle!
After a reprieve, French's flying match winner denied by a split-second false start. Some more iffy rulings. Down 16-12, the Panthers pushed right to full time.
PG gets it away! Oh my word!
Ruled held up, a 3-minute examination couldn't find evidence to give a try.
Are going to be the world champions!
I know what it means to this town, to this community and their players. That one trophy still teases Penrith.
They're obviously better than we are.
Sunia Taruva's knee is a worry. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
Unlike last year, Parramatta appear intent on making a fast start in 2024 if their final trial's anything to go by. The Dragons put West Tigers to the sword in Mudgee, while the Cowboys defeated the Raiders in Queanbeyan. The Eels are dominating Desi's Titans late in the second half.
With all their stars on deck, Para hit the ground running.
Shown by Penasini, he's too strong.
The Eels all over Desi's Titans in the first half in Ipswich, 4 tries to 1, including a classy Mitch Moses kick for Bryce Cartwright to make it 20-4.
It is point perfect, and that's wonderful play.
With Moses pulling the strings, the sparkling attack continued after the break. But Micah Sevo faces a nervous wait after a late hit on AJ Brimson. At the Raiders' spiritual home, Seaford Oval, strange days indeed.
Kick for himself, chases hard.
19-year-old Ethan Strange put his hand up to fill the Jack Whiten void.
Lukey has cut it up by Strange.
But a dangerous tackle could cost the entrance junior a round 1 spot. From 14-8 down, the Cowboys scored 5 second-half tries to win by 10, but lost Cohen Hess to a knee injury. In Mudgee, the Tigers' new left edge showed it's one to be feared.
What's Olam's reaction here? He landed one earlier. Yeah.
But the big hits and Jareem Buller's touch of class were rare bright spots. The Dragons proving far too strong, coasting to their first win under Shane Flanagan.
Changed the culture a little bit. We've got Flano that's changed it. It's been a good pre-season and we're working towards something special.
Tonight showed, I thought, where we really are, and that we've got a lot of work to do. So 3 weeks until we play, we need to sort a lot of things out.
A week out from the season-opening Vegas doubleheader, the Broncos trained at the home of the NFL's LA Rams.
Even just like wearing gloves and, trying to catch their ball. I think I'm meeting a few people with my manager over here trying to sort something out. I'm just joking.
Nick Markham, 7 News.
A tough start to Super Rugby for the Waratahs, leading the Reds 15-14 just on half-time. A penalty try and yellow card to Max Jorgensen led to a 40-22 victory for Queensland in Brisbane. The official crowd of 14,000, well short of State of the Union heydays. The Matildas are all but guaranteed a place in Paris, but Tony Gustafsson knows drastic improvements required. A wasteful opening 72 minutes against Uzbekistan was ended by Michelle Heyman's first Matildas goal in 8 years. Mary Fowler put the result beyond doubt.
Oh, fantastic goal. Clinical, individual finish.
Off the bench, Caitlin Ford sealed the 3-0 win.
Our conversion rate must have been really bad. I mean, we could have scored. We left a lot of goals out there today. We need to admit that. That needs to be better on Wednesday.
The Matildas are headed to Melbourne for Wednesday's return leg, sold out as well. Second versus third in the A-League, the Mariners struck first against the Victory tonight.
And it's got in. I think it might be an own goal, but the Mariners hit the front.
Trying to stay in touch with leaders Wellington, Central Coast led 1-0 late. A Nicholas Milanovic double gave the Wanderers a 2-1 win over 10-man Adelaide United. Sydney FC drew 1-1 with Melbourne City. Overseas in the Premier League, Manchester United levelled with Fulham in the 89th minute before the Cottagers snatched a 2-1 win 8 minutes later, their first at Old Trafford in 21 years.
And Fulham look to have stolen it at the death.
Manchester City moved within 1 point of leaders Liverpool, 1-0 over Bournemouth. Arsenal thrashed Newcastle 4-1, sitting 1 point further back. Steve Smith blew the last chance to push for a spot in Australia's T20 World Cup squad, out for 4 against New Zealand today.
Oh, yes, it's a little edge. I thought he might have played and missed. That was the reaction from Smith, but that's a beauty from Milnes.
Australia reached 4 for 118 before rain ended their innings, set 126 to win off 10 overs. The Kiwis fell 27 runs short, giving the tourists a 3-0 series clean sweep.
There'll be chats around, obviously, those final few positions in the 15. Fingers crossed he makes it, but there's always going to be someone that's unlucky.
The first test in Wellington starts on Thursday. The Blues lost today's one-day cup final to Western Australia at Cricket Central. Ollie Davies hit 51 in New South Wales, 169 all out. Hilton Cartwright's unbeaten 73 led WA to a 5-wicket win and third straight title. Chaz Mostert is a Mustang-driving menace armed to take down the Camaros this year. Under surveillance for race 2 of the Supercars season, the opening lap was a mess at Mount Panorama before Mostert emerged clear, hunted by the 2 Red Bulls. But a pit stop hold-up allowed Will Brown to steal the lead and victory in his first round with the 888 heavyweights.
but they are right in the hut.
I'm absolutely knackered. It was pretty hard out there. I had Chaz just pushing me along. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit gutted.
Still worthy of a shoey while Brown leads the championships. Why not, I guess. The Sail GP final almost started with disaster on the harbour this afternoon.
Oh, what a start! What a mistake by all of the crews. What a mistake there.
Australia were penalised but took full advantage on their home water. Tom Slingsby's crew held off Denmark for their first win this season, extending their lead on top of the standings. Well, maybe this is an omen for Benji's boys. West Tigers tragic Jordan Thompson won his maiden ATP Tour title in Los Cabos, Mexico today at 29 after 11 years as a pro. Thompson took out Alexander Zverev, then beat Casper Ruud in straight sets in the final. You can join those dots. Great news for the Tigers.
Big win.
Huge win. Well done.
Good guy. Yep. Thanks, Mel. Doctors are crying out for more government help, saying they're forced to pass on the soaring costs of operating a clinic to patients. The number of GPs who bulk bill is dropping, with Medicare rebates now covering a smaller portion of consult fees.
They are the essential checkups, but the cost of going to a GP isn't checking out.
You have twice as many people across the country who aren't going to see a GP because of cost in just 1 year.
Australians not coping with rising out-of-pocket expenses. More than a decade ago, a Medicare rebate was designed to cover 85% of a standard consult.
It now covers about 40%. And that gap has been passed on to patients.
A federal government policy introduced last November is already helping improve bulk billing rates, but there's no change when it comes to gap fees. Rebates were frozen nearly 10 years ago.
Funding in general practice has dropped by $800 million in the last year.
In Sydney, the number of clinics bulk billing has dropped by 25% in the federal electorate of Mitchell in the Hills District, more than 32% in Macarthur, Bennelong and the Inner West electorate of Barton. The worst Cook on the Sutherland Shire, the rate dropping by nearly 50%.
87% of electorates across the country saw a decrease in bulk billing rates over the course of 2023.
And it's likely that number will continue to fall. Angelique Opie, 7 News.
Now Angie's back with the forecast. Ange, will the sunshine continue?
Mark, another glorious summer's day ahead tomorrow. Passing shower, the only hurdle in the way. I'll tell you what time that's most likely next.
Tonight, 7 News headlines. Police have expanded their search for the bodies of Jesse Baird and Luke Davies, scanning an area in the southern Tablelands. Whistleblowers have made claims of patient sexual assaults and psychological terror against staff at Cumberland Hospital. And the wreck of the SS Nemesis has been discovered off Port Kembla after 120 years. Now here's Angie with the latest on Sydney's weather.
Thank you very much, Mark. Today was just spectacular. Not too hot, not too cold. We reached a top of 28 degrees in the CBD. Skies were clear, light winds. Late this afternoon, Penrith just made it to 30 degrees, but most other spots hit 28 or 29. A little bit cooler at Terry Hills, 26, and Katoomba, 25. A trough near the north coast is weakening, so we will see the rain start to ease back there, and high pressure just keeping the rest of the state nice and fine. Tomorrow is looking warm and dry for most centres. In fact, heat will just continue to build now, with parts of Sydney to hit 40 degrees plus later in the week. Around the capitals, Brisbane is looking fine, just a passing shower if anything, 32 degrees. Canberra, lots of sunshine, 31. Melbourne may see a morning shower followed by a top of 21. 21 also for Hobart with grey skies. Adelaide, fine, 29. Perth, cloud clearing and 32 degrees. 32 also the top for Darwin. Statewide, we've got scattered showers developing along the southern half of the coastline and the adjacent ranges. That wet weather's most likely in the afternoon and evening. Otherwise, it's looking fine and warm. And it is quite a hot one in parts. 37 degrees at Canamble, 36 degrees on the way for Wagga, 35 for Tamworth. A little bit cooler with the sea breeze on the coast, 30 degrees for Port Macquarie and for Newcastle. And as we head into the metro region now, a mostly sunny morning. We may also see an early fog in our west. Temperatures to hit the high 20s on the coast, low 30s inland. There is the chance of a passing shower, but that's not going to happen until the evening, so it is looking like a good day. On the water, north-northwesterly winds at first, shifting westerly at about the middle of the day before a southerly change in the early afternoon, and with it will come a couple of showers. For the CBD, a low of 19 tonight, so it will cool off before another beautiful day. Sunny, 28, that possible late shower. To the week ahead, Tuesday, some light morning showers clearing for the afternoon. Warm and fine for Wednesday. Thursday, certainly the one to watch. 36 degrees in the CBD, 40 in our west. That's also the last official day of summer. Autumn begins on Friday with grey skies and temperatures much closer to average. So a final surge of heat in the last days of summer, Mark.
Ending with a bang. Thank you,
are.
Angie. Before we go, here's a look at a story we have for you tomorrow night.
On 7 News, how 2 Harvard-trained doctors are turning the battle for weight loss on its head. No surgery, no anaesthetic, no medication. Just swallow a tiny capsule and walk out 30 minutes later. Now in Australia, patients losing 10 to 15% of their body weight. On 7 News Monday.
That's 7 News for this Sunday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7 Plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.